welcome to the K-Files this morning. We have myself and JP, and guess where we are? We're in the studio. Are we glad, JP?
Yeah, we're not camping.
We should have brought Captain Jeff Sherrod out in the woods camping with us, but you know what? He can do
I would've
it.
went.
He's a camper.
So
he could have survived
Yeah.
the bugs and the wasp and the bears and the snakes and all of that.
Could have done it.
Yeah,
Right.
you could have. But welcome to the show this morning. It's first of the month, and
It
you
is.
always come to talk to us about some of the Nash County cases. But, you know, Nash County don't have many cases.
We don't, thank goodness.
We got about 5.
About 5, and 2 of those 5 are extremely old, way
Yes.
even before my time.
Yes.
So.
You want to talk about Randy Colegrove today?
Yeah, we talk about Randy Colegrove. We got a call back on October the 21st, 2017. Some friends of Randy's couldn't get in touch with him, so they went to his residence to see if they could make contact with him. And when they got to his residence, they found Randy laying in the driveway approximately 400 or 500 yards from his actual house. When we got on scene, we were able to determine it looked like a home invasion had happened at Randy's residence. Looked like there was a struggle inside of the residence, and Randy was able to get away. It appeared to us that Randy ran probably 300 or 400 feet, and another struggle ensued. And then Randy was able to get away the second time and run approximately 300 yards to where his final resting place was. We believe Randy just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Don't believe this crime was intended for Randy whatsoever. But we have worked this case since 2017. Of course, we worked it hard when it first came out, like we always do. And then recently, the sheriff asked some more people to look in it behind me and see if there was anything I may have missed or any new leads they could get and new interviews, and just hadn't turned up anything that would help us get over the threshold. We believe we have a person of interest, but we just don't have enough to make him a person of interest, if that makes sense.
You've got to have the proof. I mean, you just got to
be
able to prove it.
True, and you know, I've tried to do this my whole career, and that is I said I would never take out a warrant on someone and charge them with anything that I couldn't win in court. And we just don't have enough to get us over the threshold to be able to try to take it to court and win it in this case. So anybody that knows anything, you can call me at the sheriff's office, you can call Crime Stoppers, you can call Texas Tip with Rocky Mount. Rocky Mount's extremely good about any time they get a tip on any of their lines, they automatically forward it to us so that we can follow the tip and run it down and things like that. But you know, Randy was pretty well known in the neighborhood.
He was a barber,
he
wasn't
was.
he?
He actually, before he ended up in Nashville as a barber, he worked at Walnut over at by the Armory, and that's where I go and get my haircut. And so he had been there for a while, and then he ended up in Nashville opening his own shop and cutting hair in Nashville at the time of his death.
So let's go back. So you said you don't think it was intended for Randy.
No.
So you think somebody just knew, because his house was not sitting on the road.
No.
It
His
was
house
down
was
a path.
about 600 yards up a path,
Yeah.
if not further.
So somebody knew that house was back there, and you just feel like they decided, well, nobody will see me way back there. So
Yeah,
I'm just going to
you know,
bust in this house.
Well, you never know what the intent is when there's a home invasion. You don't know if they think somebody has money or has just items that they want. But it appeared to us it was definitely a home invasion, and unfortunately, Randy just happened to be home at the time it occurred.
Right. Okay. Well, if you know anything, as Captain Sherrod said, please call any of the authorities. As you said, also, you know, they will call the proper agency, no matter what agency you call. They're going to call the investigating agency.
Correct.
And let them know. So it will be anonymous. You will not be known. So please help them with this case. Randy was we want to give closure to Randy's family. He was such a nice guy from what I understand.
Yeah.
I didn't know him.
He cut my hair when he was over at airport in Wilson. And once upon a time, he was over at Parkwood Mall when they still had a barbershop there. We're going back to late 90s, early 2000s.
Wow.
I had known him for a while. Great guy. Not the type of person that you would think would be involved in anything, shady. Just a good guy.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, if you know anything, you will not have to, it's not upon conviction, it is upon arrest. So that means you will get your money as soon as they arrest someone that satisfies your tip. Then you will get cash money. You'll get cash money up to $15,000. So in a couple of days. So if you know anything, it's a great way to, number one, get somebody off the street so they don't do this again. Because chances are these people have already reoffended.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
I mean, it usually, very seldom is somebody's first time just to go out and kill somebody. They've been involved in other criminal activities, and it seems like in the history shows that they start out small and it gets bigger as they go. So, if I would say it's a safe bet to say that this wasn't their first time that they got involved in any criminal activities.
Right.
Can you speculate? Something I've wondered, and if you can't answer, you can't answer it. Was it one, two, multiple?
We believe it was more than one, and
Okay.
we believe it may be two is what we believe.
Okay. I've wondered that.
We've always believed it's been more than one, just because of the way some things were inside the house that were tore up during the struggle that we think that happened inside the house. But we think it was at least we know
two.
it was one, but we think it may be two involved in the whole time.
And Randy lived by himself?
He had a roommate with him that we were able to quickly alibi out, and that he was nowhere around at the time that the incident occurred.
Wow. Okay. Well, it could have been him.
They got killed ultimately.
It could have. I mean, if he'd have been home,
I'm glad you clarified that.
Yeah.
It could have been him that they got instead of Randy. He could have been the one home.
if he would have been home, if he would have been home,
it would have been him.
It would have been him too.
Yeah.
We would have had a double. But yes, so if it would have been him, if he would have been there, it could have easily have been him instead of Randy.
Yeah. Well, we hope I know somebody knows something about this. People talk. They don't keep their mouths shut. They do talk about these things. So if you know anything, please give closure to the family and get somebody off the street and collect some money. I mean, what more can you do? What more can we ask than those three things? So anyway, thank you,
Yes, ma'am.
Captain, for
It's good
coming.
to see you.
Good seeing you.
Always good seeing you, and we'll see you back the 1st of September. Wow, it's August.
Yes, August. And if y'all decide to go on a camping trip again, just call and let me know something.
You'll be the first one on the list. All right, we'll be right back with me and JP right after this. Okay, and welcome back. Welcome to the K-Files. Welcome back to the K-Files. Jeff Sherrod is always so...
Johnny on the spot.
Yes, he is. He just comes. He's very loyal to the first week in the month, and he makes sure he comes and talks about what's going on in Nash County with investigations of unsolved murders, and we really appreciate them doing that.
And he's always been like that.
Yes.
When we worked together years ago at the sheriff's office, always squared away.
Yeah.
And he was always looking a paper to make an arrest, to close the case, to solve. And that's one reason he does so well in the job that he has now. Even as a road deputy,
Right.
he wanted to, make arrests and close cases. Good guy.
He's always been such a good guy, and he's been there a long time too. So, well, our phone is ringing this morning. Let's see who we might have on the phone. We don't normally have calls on the K-Files. Good morning. Good morning.
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 Another month.
Yeah, another month. We made it to August.
every 2 weeks when you get a certain age, it's like flying.
Yes, it does. It really does.
You know, I was sitting here watching earlier, and then I just saw the ad come up about the training preparation. It
Right.
made me think about when I took the class. It kind of had an instructor, and I'm not going to bring the name out, but I feel like JP can relate to it. Me and my wife had the same guy in the same class. And I thought it was real powerful what he told the class.
Now, you're talking about concealed carry?
Correct.
Okay.
And I think it's relevant to everyday life and the way everything is run. He says that you come to my class, I'm not preparing you to kill someone. I'm showing you how to protect yourself.
Right.
He's right.
So it's kind of like the mindset. Some people don't need one. It's like every tool, it's got a purpose. And it's put in the wrong hand, everything can be a weapon. And I think it goes local, state, the whole world. Some people qualified, some are not. But they've had the proper training and carried out in business, marriage life. Everything you do today is how you've been presented and trained.
Right.
And how you handle a situation. And it's always going to be different. So you can't never say, well, I would have done this. You have to do what at that time you feel like protect your life.
Right. Right.
And that's what we're doing every day, walking around, trying to focus, be at the right place at the right time. And you think you know somebody. I told somebody the other day, I told my wife, I said, you know, everybody got a analogy statement. I said, you know, it's sad to say, I don't even trust my dog. I love him, I feed him, but he's subject to bite me.
If he's got teeth.
That's
so y'all
right.
have a good day.
Thank
you for calling.
Bye-bye. You know what they said about the turtle crossing over trying to get across the water? When the snake gave him a ride, he said, but I'm a snake.
That's right, yeah.
That's the best story ever to me because it is so true for life. Anyway, we'll get started, let you get started into some cases, JP, this morning.
Let's see. I think we're down at Jermaine Lynch. Jermaine Lynch. This case is from September the 8th, 2009. Around 11:08 p.m., Rocky Mount Police Department was dispatched to a shooting at the corner of Tom's Trail and Travis Run in Rocky Mount. When law enforcement arrived, they found Jermaine Lynch suffering from a gunshot wound. During the investigation, they determined that the shooting stemmed from a robbery. The suspects were 4 to 6 black males, one male between 45 and 50 years old with a thin build and a thin grayish beard. The suspects tried to rob Jermaine as he was next to a van. He was shot and then ran from the scene where he was found by law enforcement. Jermaine Lynch, September 8th, 2009. This was at 11 o'clock at night. Again, somewhere around the corner of Tom's Trail and Travis Run in Rocky Mount. He was shot. He attempted to flee from the scene and was later found by law enforcement deceased.
So we don't know a lot of details, but we do know he was shot, and we don't know if it was targeted. It sounds like it might have been a targeted thing. So if you know anything at all about Jermaine Lynch, please call the authorities. This is a Rocky Mount case, so Twin County Crime Stoppers, 977-1111. Text to tip. There's the Crime Stoppers right there. Cash rewards and confidentiality guaranteed, it says. And that's true. Okay.
This next one is Brian Dominic Mitchell. Brian Dominic Mitchell. This case is from March 25th, 2010. Officers responded to the 500 block of Fairview Avenue, Southwest in Wilson, to a shooting. Brian Mitchell was standing in a lawn when a drive-by shooting took place. Witnesses who saw the shooting put Mitchell in their car and transported him to Wilson Medical Center, where he was later pronounced dead. This is a Wilson case, very limited information, just 2 sentences. Again, March 25th, 2010, Brian Dominic Mitchell shot in a drive-by shooting at the 500 block of Fairview Avenue, Southwest in Wilson. No vehicle description, anything like that. No suspect information. And
it says they had witnesses because the witnesses took him to the hospital. So there was witnesses. And you mean to tell me all these people, I don't know how many it was, might have been 2, might have been 3, we don't know how many witnesses, but nobody knew the kind of car. We don't know if the police department may have a suspicious vehicle or, a description of the car by the witnesses, but if they do have it, we did not get it in this article. So.
This next case, Tony Wilkins. It's from June 30th, 2010. Around 9:10 a.m., Rocky Mount Police was called when a neighbor heard gunshots coming from 520 Cascade Apartment D, as in David, in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. When they arrived, they found Tony Wilkins, 41, lying on the floor of his apartment between the living room and the kitchen. A neighbor saw someone go to the door just earlier, and Wilkins let that person in. Moments later, the neighbor heard a gunshot. Not only did the suspect shoot Wilkins 2 times in the face and head, but the suspect took a knife and stuck it in the back of Wilkins's neck. The knife was still in his neck when police arrived. This insinuates that the person was mad at Wilkins to not only shoot him, but to stab him as well. Yeah, this is personal.
That is rage.
That's rage.
That is rage, and that is, if you're going to stab somebody after they're already dead, that's just.
And he knew this person to let him in the house.
Yes.
After they're knocking. Yeah, that's
Cascade Avenue, Apartment D, Rocky Mount. I think Cascade Avenue is over off of Raleigh Road somewhere, by the Pineview Cemetery somewhere, I think. One of those streets off of there, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, that is really bad.
Yeah, to be shot twice in the face and head and stabbed in the neck, yeah, that's tough stuff.
And things like this in this book, these cases, they're mostly drug related.
Yeah.
You hate to say it, but they're mostly drug related. It's sad. But
And the scary part is whoever did this, they're still walking the streets probably of Rocky Mount.
yeah, absolutely. And as we said earlier, have probably gone on to do something else. But this person was not a nice person, I'll tell you that, to just kill somebody and then just stab them after they have shot them. I mean, that's just bad. And left the knife in the back of the neck. That's just eerie. Okay. We can do one more before we go to break.
Okay, this next one is George Thomas Harrison. George Thomas Harrison from July 9th, 2010. George Thomas Harrison, 77 years old at the time, was found beaten in his home on Mutual Boulevard in Princeville, North Carolina, and taken to a nearby hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. The suspect broke through a window in Harrison's home and attacked him sometime around 6:05 a.m. He was found not long after the attack and taken to Pitt Memorial Hospital, where he died at 10:30 a.m. He was found with 10 cents in his pocket and still wearing a watch and a ring. George Thomas Harrison, July 9th, 2010, 77 years old. Someone broke into his home through a window, attacked him.
I mean, obviously the motive was not robbery.
Yeah.
If so, why didn't they take his ring and his watch?
I believe anybody that's going to climb through your window, they know enough about you to know who's probably there, that you're probably alone, that it's a. You just
but why
don't.
would somebody do that to a 77-year-old man if you're not robbing him? Why would you just break in somebody's window, 77 years old, and just beat him to death?
Yeah, I'd love to know more about Mr. Harrison's personal life.
Yes, I would too.
Yeah.
I would too.
Because
You would think at 77, I mean, it wouldn't.
Yeah,
But you don't know.
you don't know. Yeah.
Really don't.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's definitely not. I don't think it's random. Just based on what we have here.
Yes, it doesn't sound like it.
There's more to this story.
Well, the next one won't take you very long.
Not at all. One sentence. Terrell Antoine Gray. Terrell Antoine Gray. This case is from October 9th, 2010. Terrell Gray was shot outside of a store at 540 Raleigh Road in Rocky Mount.
That's all we have to go on. He was just, if you know
Unknown time
anything,
of day. He was just found outside the store, 540 Raleigh Road in Rocky Mount. That's what we have.
I don't
He was
even
shot.
know the name of the store. 540 Raleigh Road, I don't even know where that's at. Not really. So just a store on Raleigh Road. But if you knew Terrell Antoine Gray, then if you saw something, if you see something, say something. I mean, don't just let it go. All right, we are going to take a break. Come back with you right after this. Okay, welcome back to the K-Files. You know, we had a caller earlier talking about concealed carry classes. It's just important now to carry a gun. I'm sorry, but it is just important to be able to, it's not just carry a gun, it is to protect yourself.
Knowing how to use it, when to use it, and then if you're forced into a life and death situation, knowing what to say when law enforcement arrives and says, what happened here?
Right,
It's
right.
to know what to say.
Exactly.
It's a package deal.
And you learn all that in concealed
You
carry
learn it
classes.
in my class, yes you do. And I've got a class coming up actually September 21st. September 21st, 8 o'clock in the morning at Bailey Masonic Lodge. We've kind of gone to every other month now. So September 21st, we'd love to have you at the Bailey Masonic Lodge down in Bailey. Come, get trained, get your concealed carry certificate, and begin carrying.
How do they sign up?
You can reach out to me at 919-369-0311. Google Barnes Safety online. Go to our website. It'll walk you through the registration process.
Barnes Safety online. Just go to Barnes
BarnesSafety.com.
Safety. And give your number again.
919-369-0311.
I know there's some folks out there that need to get your concealed carry. You know, my daughter, I mean, she would not be without hers. I mean, she is just avid. Her daddy taught her, you know, you got to be able to protect yourself. The other day, Joe usually has his, and I could not believe we were somewhere, and I said, you know, do you have your gun? And he said, no. Do you believe, and Robbie and Brittany and Joe and myself had gone somewhere together, and he said, no, do you believe I left my gun at home? Brittany said, I have mine. I mean, really,
Yeah,
it's
if when I roll, and my wife will tell you this, when I roll out of the bed in the morning, literally roll out of the bed, I put my shorts on. A gun goes in my pocket.
yeah.
I mean, if you see me out and about, and I have students come up to me all the time, they'll see me in Walmart, different places. JP, have you got your gun? Yes, I do. I've got it. And not only do you need to carry it religiously, you need to train. Don't just come through a course and get your concealed carry and not train to be proficient. You need to train regularly. Get with a friend, get with a loved one, a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. Find you a location. Go to the range. Shoot, I think Rocky Mountain's got 1 or 2 different indoor ranges. Go practice and be proficient. Carrying a gun is like carrying tools in a tool belt.
Mm-hmm.
You need to stay familiar with them. You need to know that you've got this tool with you should you be put in a situation that you need that tool.
How does it also teach, women, sometimes, women want to take the course, and you should take the course, but women often ask, but how do I know what kind of gun to get?
I tell people, do not rush out and buy a gun to come to my class. Don't do that. Come to class, use a gun that I have. And I have a variety of different weapons that you can, get accustomed to. You're welcome to shoot. Do a little bit of research. Go to a gun and knife show where you can actually take the time to put your hand on a weapon, hold it, feel it, see how it operates. And I would say take a picture of the gun that you decide that you like. Mm-hmm. Come home, go online, do some research, go to gunbroker.com, gunsamerica.com, something like that. You can save hundreds of dollars by going online, purchasing that weapon, and having it shipped to a local gun shop.
Wow.
All my guns I purchase online, mostly lightly used law enforcement trade-ins. The gun like I'm carrying with me today, I paid like $200 for it. It's a M&P Smith & Wesson 380. I keep it with me.
Yeah. I mean, what good is a gun if it's at home?
That's right.
It ain't gonna do you no good. You need to have, you need to have it with you. You need to have it on you. And, again, if an officer stops you and you've got a concealed carry and you've got a gun in the car, that's a question that people ask all the time. What do I do if I get stopped? Where's my gun supposed to be? Well, if you have a concealed carry, where's it supposed to be?
And we cover that in class. The number one rule if you're carrying a weapon is do not attempt to dig for that weapon as law enforcement is making an approach, okay? Don't attempt to get it off your side, get it out of the glove box, get it out from under. Do not. Because the law enforcement officer does not know at that point, are you a good guy or a bad guy? All we know approaching that vehicle is we see you digging and we see you coming around with a weapon, and it's going to end badly. I tell my kids, if you get stopped by law enforcement, you put your hands on the steering wheel, you put your hands on the dash, if you've got time, put them out the window. And that is to demonstrate to that law enforcement officer, you are not a threat. Law enforcement officers, we get, hey, you might have had your gun on the dash and when you went to pull over, it slid under the seat or it fell under the dash. We get it. So demonstrate that you're not a threat. Let that law enforcement officer give you loud verbal commands, hey, put your hands on the wheel, whatever. Don't dig and fumble trying to recover that weapon. But we go over what you need to say to law enforcement when you're carrying concealed. We go over with you what to do, what not to do. If you're carrying concealed in North Carolina, you are required by law to have photo ID with you and to advise law enforcement that you're carrying concealed. You're required by law to do it. And yes, sometimes people get nervous when they're getting stopped and they might forget to disclose it. But most of the time we know when we run that tag, we know within seconds that person is a licensed concealed carry. Just from the DMV response that we get before we even make an approach.
Wow. Interesting. Well, it's always good to know these things. I mean, it really is, and they are some of the most asked questions, because if you don't know, you don't know. So,
You stop and think, this book right here, we talk about all these cases of people, home invasion, their house getting broken into, they being abducted, found, roadside, been shot. Stop and think about how many of these people would not be in this book today if they were licensed, concealed carry, properly trained, and they had a weapon with them and they knew how to use it
right.
in a life and death situation, because clearly they were put into a life and death situation, which means they could have legally used deadly force to protect themselves in every case in this book.
Mm-hmm.
Just stop and think, if they had taken the time to get the training, to have a weapon, and were proficient in using it,
Mm-hmm.
this book would be no ways this size.
You're exactly right. That is a very good point. Very good point. All right. Well, we might have time for one more case for you. I just thought that was important information. And from time to time, we like to have discussions like that because JP's very knowledgeable. He is retired law enforcement and teaches those classes. And so anyway, need to find out that information. Well, this is a very familiar case coming up.
It is. We've talked about it several times. It's a very well talked about case, even with Rocky Mount PD to this day. Rafiq Safan, he was known as Sammy. Sammy was killed outside of his store on the 1100 block of Old Wilson Road in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. He was leaving the store sometime around 12:51 a.m. when he was killed in the parking lot. Rocky Mount police state it was an attempted robbery. Sammy had a large amount of bills still in his pocket when police arrived. He had 90 $1 bills, 18 fives, 2 20s, and 3 50s. Sounds like to me he was killed as he was trying to lock up and leave the store. So someone was out lying in wait around 12:51 a.m. March 8th, 2011.
But why didn't they get all the money?
They got spooked. After you had an exchange, look, it could have been a car come by. Who knows? He could have had a gun and tried to fight back. He could have just tried to fight back with his hands. He could have put up some type of resistance. It could have been a number of things. A police cruiser could have come by. We don't know.
I remember when the Rocky Mountain PD was talking about this, and when they
Seems like
come
he fought
again,
back.
he fought back, and somebody was running or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, but we'll have to ask them when they come back about this case. Sammy, this was the reason his nickname was Sammy, not because his name was Sammy, but it was Sammy's Takeout.
Mm-hmm.
Sammy Evans owned it for years, and it was Sammy's Takeout. And so he just assumed when he got the store, I guess, the name of Sammy.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it was still Sammy's Takeout at that time when he owned it. I don't know that. But anyway, terrible. Another one of those situations, convenient mart, type thing. So shooting, robbery. So anyway.
And you figured this case right here, whoever did this, these people, it didn't just happen. He was on somebody's radar.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody knew his routine.
Mm-hmm.
They lie in wait. Again, stop and think, if he had been trained to carry concealed,
Yes.
if he had a weapon, if he had the mindset of being on the lookout when he exited that store, he may not have been in this book.
Right. Exactly right. Well, anyway, that's all for today. We've had talked about quite a few cases today. If you know anything, do the right thing. Just do the right thing. It's anonymous. Collect you some cash money. Everybody could use some cash money, so do the right thing and call. This is a Crime Stoppers, Twin County Crime Stoppers case. Of course, you can always call Crime Stoppers, no matter what the case is. But there's your number, or you can call Text to Tip with Rocky Mount Police Department. but call. That's the important thing. Call. Contact someone to give closure, to get these people off the street, and for you to do the right thing. So, all right, that's all for today. Thank you, JP.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks for having me.
See you next week.